Hi there, welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today we're going to gently thump, press, twist and squeeze the latent energy out of our bodies. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify where you need to, and rest as often as need be. You ready? Let's hit the mat. We're going to set up for today's class coming into a seated frame. We're going to ease our way down into Sukhasana, easy sit, sitting cross-legged on the mat with the right leg stacking in front of the left. Sit up nice and tall, fist your hands and place your fists alongside your hips on the floor. You're going to softly nod your chin to your chest, and we're going to begin with a few gentle bum thumps to begin waking up the energy in the body. Press down into the fists as you lift the bum up off the mat, and then thump yourself back down into the mat, completing a few soft thumps of your rump into the mat to begin shaking and pressing the latent energy out of your body. Maybe playing with a nice shooting little breath. Come to stillness and start to trace a Kundalini circle clockwise towards your right knee. Inhaling as you draw the body forward, exhaling and squeezing the stale air out of the lungs as you draw back. Maybe beginning your circle small and then start to systematically make your circle bigger and bigger as you start to trace that circle. Maybe bringing the movement into your shoulders if you're feeling any tightness there. Come to stillness along the midline of the body. Take a big breath in. We're going to twist to the right, twist to the left, twist to the right, twist to the left. Play with a nice shooting breath sound of your choice. Maybe experiment with it. Twisted to the right and hold. Keeping that sense of length through the spine, bum bones firmly planted into the mat, looking over the back shoulder towards the back end of your mat. Then untwist your trunk, extend the legs long and lengthened in front of you, maybe giving them a little shake out. Maybe sandwiching the legs flush along the midline of the body. Actively pressing into the soles of your feet. Sit up nice and tall in staff pose and float your hands into Jupiter Mudra, trying to keep your fists in line with your shoulders. We're going to seesaw L lean forward and L lean back. Once again, finding an active breath pattern to wake up the heat energy within the body. Playing with an active breath pattern of your choice, maybe an HA sound, maybe more of a Ujjayi exhalation, maybe an SSS sound. Just play with it. Body should already be feeling nice and warm. From here, we're going to gently lean the weight back, end up on the elbows, not collapsing into the mat, but softly pushing off the forearms, floating your chest to the sky. You're going to give me a few single leg lifts on the right, lifting and lowering the leg, trying to hover that whole heel off the floor, keeping that chest nice and high. You can use that active breath pattern again. And then let's change sides. Then tuck both knees in towards your chest, still keeping that chest floating up nice and high towards the ceiling. You're going to extend the legs and bend them in unison. The whole time using a nice active breath pattern as we play with this dynamic movement in the beginning of the class to encourage the buildup of heat energy within the body. Let's do 2 more. And then we're going to ease our way onto the back from here. Bend your knees, connect the soles of your feet to the mat. Drop the arms long and heavy at your side and come into some soft dynamic bridge lines. Begin in neutral spine with your little space between your lower back and the mat in neutral spine. Take a big breath in. On an exhale, tilt your pelvis to the 12 o'clock position. Imprint your lower and your mid back. Start peeling your bum up off the mat. Coming up nice and high in the shoulders. Pause in your bridge line and then peel back down the same way that you went up, almost hollowing out your belly, rounding out your back before tilting everything back into neutral. Complete a few rolling bridges, peeling up and down, beginning to mobilize through the back, starting to forge a connection, or a deeper connection rather, with your core, making sure that you're keeping your feet and your knees hip-width distance apart, and maybe beginning to play with a softer, audible sound as you peel up and down. Look for that stretch into the lower belly, the tops of your thighs through the kneecaps as you find the apex of your bridge, pausing maybe for a millisecond or 2 in that little stretch before peeling back down to your start position. Just give yourself a few dynamic bridges here. Let's do 1 more. And then as you peel down on your last dynamic bridge, you're going to gently float the hands overhead, back of the hands connected to the mat, palms looking up. Take a big breath in to prepare. From neutral spine, tilt your pelvis to the 12 o'clock position. Scoop to peel up off the shoulders, drawing the knees up into table and floating the hands alongside your hips. And then gently inhaling to come back down. Find that active breath pattern. Let's do 2 more and then we'll take it into some gentle dynamic spinal twists. End back in your start position, and this time as you reconnect to the mat, open up your arms into T, either palms down or palms up, whichever feels the most intuitive for you, and float your legs into a tabletop position. Take a big breath in to prepare. On the exhale, drop your knees off center to the left while you look to the right. Inhale to come back to center, exhale to drop it to the other side. Give yourself at least 6 iterations, dropping side to side, trying to bring those knees progressively closer to the floor on each drop. Your knees gently coaxing itself to one side while your head moves in the opposite direction. Every time systematically bringing those knees closer to the floor. Starting to lumber up into the lower back. End close to the floor as you can on the left and hold that twist. Maybe using your fingertips to gently pull or tug the top knee softly down while trying to anchor and look over your opposite shoulder. Lead your knees back to center and tuck straight into some spinal rolls, maybe bracing behind your thighs or maybe softly bracing around the shins. As you make a tight little ball with your body, hollow out your belly, round out your back, rocking back as far as your shoulder blades, and then back up to your start position. Find a gentle rhythm of your own. Keeping the body gently moving as you try to release all that latent energy trapped within. Ease yourself back into a seated frame, finding your way back into Sukhasana, this time leading with the left leg in front of the right. Fist your hands, place your fists behind you alongside your hips, and give me a few bump thumps. Come to stillness and start to trace your Kundalini circles anti-clockwise this time, so towards your left knee, maybe beginning with a tight little circle. And then as you start to warm up through the hips, start to make your circle progressively bigger. Think of feeding over one knee and then around the front of your feet, around the other knee, and then squeezing the chest in towards the back of your rib cage on the exhale. So nice big inhale as you circle forward, nice exhale as you come back. Let's do 2 more, and then we'll take it into some seated twists, sitting up nice and tall. You're going to dynamically begin twisting left to right, cupping opposite hands to the outside of your knee or your thigh as you come into the twist, using a nice purging breath sound. You're going to end and hold that twist on the left, looking over the back, left shoulder towards the back edge of the mat, trying to keep your bum bones equally weighted and your spine nice and tall, squeezing all of the stale air out of your lungs. Then begin to unwrap your legs, maybe give them a little shake out as you come into staff pose Dandasana, squeezing the legs flush along the midline of the body, sitting up nice and tall and finding your way into Jupiter Mudra. You're going to L lean forward, L lean back, use an active breath pattern with maybe an audible sound. S, 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 s. Let's do 2 more, and then we'll ease our way from here softly onto the elbows, pushing off the forearms, and begin with a little single leg lift and lower on the left, trying to keep that heel floating just off the floor. Push softly off the forearms, float your chest up towards the sky, start to forge a nice strong connection with your core. A few lifts on one side, and then change it up and give me a few single leg lifts on the other side. Let's do 2 more. Then we'll tuck both knees in towards the nose and softly extend the legs. Trying to keep that nice high chest line, keep pushing softly off your forearms, but keep your chin line and your whole neckline in neutral. Let's do 2 more, and then we'll find our way onto the back and set ourselves up for some dynamic bridge lines. Check that the feet are not too far away from the body. When you're ready, start articulating up into your bridge, and then articulating softly back now. We're not holding the bridge line, we're moving through it dynamically, lumbering up through the back, starting to forge also a nice strong connection with the legs. Think active quads, lower belly, glutes and hamstrings at the apex of your bridge. Playing with a softer breath pattern as you articulate up and down, finding a gentle rhythm of your own. Just fast enough to build up that heat energy, but not so fast that you lose that connection with your spine and your core. Lead your way back down to neutral and float your hands overhead, back of the hands connected to the mat, palms up. Take a big breath in to prepare. On the exhale, tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock, scoop to peel up off the shoulders, legs in table, arms hovering alongside, and then inhale to come back down. Using your core, that little shrimp-like tuck into the core, to peel yourself up into a little ball-like frame, and then slowly unravel your shrimp back to start. Let's do 2 more. Last one. Peel softly back down to the mat. Open up your arms into T and draw your legs into table. Big breath in to prepare. Drop your knees off center to the right while you look to the left. Come back to center on the inhale and take it to the other side. Give yourself at least 6 iterations, side to side, giving your lower back an opportunity to warm up into the twist. Thinking of just trying to draw those knees ever closer to the floor with each successive round. On your last round, you're going to drop those knees as far as you can to the right, preferably on the floor if you can, and hold for a few soft counts. Maybe using your fingertips to softly pull the top knee down and increase that twist into the lower back area. When you're ready, you're going to start moving through some spinal rolls, gently rolling the body back and forth. Body should be feeling nice and warm now and ready for some standing poses. You're going to end seated, sweep the legs behind you and push back into child pose. Maybe big toes together, knees softly splayed out, or you can keep more of a parallel line if you prefer, extending the arms softly in front of you as you try to drop your forehead to the mat. When you're ready, transition from your child pose into a down dog, tucking your toes under, floating the bum up to the sky, maybe taking a few pedaling walks if those legs are still tight. Maybe if you're doing this first thing in the morning and you need to give those legs an opportunity to warm up. Then hold your down dog frame. Take a little stretch, almost trying to forge a triangular frame between the arms and the legs, piking that bum up nice and high to the sky. We're going to ease our way into a triangle line, leading with the right leg in front. Soften the right knee, step it up to the inside of the right hand, angle the back foot in at 45. Then start to straighten through both legs as you open up the arms, trying to anchor your right arm to the inseam of your right leg. Maybe that means at about calf height. Maybe you're closer to the ankle line. Maybe you've managed to place your fingertips on the mat. Wherever you decide to play, try to actively push with the back of your hand or maybe the side of your arm if you've got that arm down on the floor to really get that opposition, or to find rather that opposition in the stretch as you find Uttita Trikonasana, open triangle. Hold for a few soft counts. Stay here, or if you'd like to come into a balancing challenge, you're going to soften the lead leg. Place your lead hand to the floor in front of your lead leg, and you're going to push up into half moon, maybe using the toes of the back leg to just find your balance first. Keeping that soft, almost T-like frame through the arms. And then step back from here into a warrior one line, bending the lead leg, angling that back foot in, back at 45, and just floating the arms overhead, maybe framing your ears on either side as you find your way into warrior one. Then begin to rotate slightly through the trunk. Open up the back leg to 90 and try to sink a little bit lower down through the hips as you open up the arms into a soft T-frame, trying to reach for the wall in front of you and reach for the wall behind you as you find your way into warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. Keep reaching long through both sets of hands. Then bleed your way from your warrior two line into a side angle, maybe softening and starting to drop through the lead arm, trying to drop it to the inside of the lead leg, trying to drop down a little bit lower through the hips. If the floor is not your friend, maybe use a block or rest the elbow on the top of your thigh. If you can, you're going to try to bleed your way from here into a bind in this side angle, and then we're going to play with the bind. Start to soften the bottom arm, tuck it through between both legs, binding both arms behind your back, make a little bear grip. Hold that bear grip, trying to drop down as low as you can through the hips, and then start to soften the back knee. Drop down to the mat, relax the back foot, push back into a little hamstring stretch, and then press forward again. You're going to actively sink the weight back and forward. Maybe you're keeping those back toes tucked under and you're trying to progressively get your bum closer towards your heel. Maybe you've relaxed that back foot and you've got a wider range of motion, and your aim is still to progressively try to get your bum closer and closer to that back heel. Maybe holding your last stretch here, sitting bum to heel or as close as bum to heel as you can get. And then maybe unraveling, sitting bum to heel, or maybe you'd like to slide off that foot and just place both hands on the floor, resting your elbows on the floor and just taking a modified Janusasana, head to knee. Either slit off that foot, or maybe if you're still sitting on that back foot, you can just drop the elbows down to the floor. When you're ready, you're going to find your way from here into a three-legged dog, throwing your lead leg up to the sky behind you. Creep your weight forward, think kneeling position, sweep your lead leg back, find your three-legged dog, and then arch the dog. So to arch your dog from your three-legged dog, you're going to bend that floating back leg, open up the knee to the side of the room, drop the foot to the opposite side, looking over that shoulder for that hanging scorpion tail. Stay here or play in wild thing by dropping or thumping that foot to the floor, opening up into a three-legged table, and then maybe you want to play dynamically between your three-legged dog, your arching dog, and your tabletop position, giving yourself at least 3 thumps of the energy. Lead your way back into your three-legged dog, and then you're going to think knee to right elbow and back. Knee to right elbow and back. Giving yourself at least 5 repetitions. End, knee to elbow. And then tuck into a high pigeon line by readjusting your right leg as you drop it to the mat. Either knee and the ankle in a straight line or maybe heel tucked in closer to the perineum. Slide, walk, or creep your back leg away. Just try to square up through the shoulders and the hips and pause here. Pushing off your high spider fingertips. If your balance is good and you've got a good connection to your inner thighs and your lower abdominals, you might want to float the arms behind you, making a little fisted line with the arms, reaching long through your knuckles while using your inner thighs and your core to hold that high pigeon frame steady. Then unbind the arms, place them softly on the mat, sit into your right bum cheek, swing the back leg around, step it over the front knee, knife edging both feet, making space for your bottom, reaching for all 10 toes with your fingertips and wrapping the toes in as if you wanted to hug your hips with them while nodding your chin to your chest, maybe allowing for a soft, almost curve in the spine. You can almost give yourself a little cat-like stretch here from a seated position. Keep hugging those feet in towards your hips. And then when you're ready, you're going to bleed your way from here back into child pose, giving yourself an opportunity to just take a little time out again. Maybe big toes together, knees softly splayed out, arms long and lengthened on the mat in front of you. When you're ready, bleed your way into down dog. Think 4-point kneeling, tuck your toes under. If those legs are really tight, give your dog a little pedal. Knees tracking forward. And then try to settle into the stretch. Parking your bum up nice and high to the ceiling, getting a stretch through the arms and the legs, so front and back chain both working. Think about how you're going to set up your triangle line from here. Soften your left leg, step it up to the inside of the left hand, angle the back foot in slightly at 45. Start to straighten both legs and place the left arm on the inseam of the left leg as you open up into your T-frame. Maybe you've got a high triangle. Maybe your triangle is lower to the floor. Wherever you decide to play, actively use that inside hand to press against the inseam of the lead leg and get that opposition in the stretch. Stay here in your triangle or find your way into half moon. Launch off the back leg. Use your back toe if you need to. Place your front hand on the mat. Find purchase as you ease your way into your half moon balance. Starting to stack the top hip on the bottom hip, so you're opening up through the hip flexors and the pelvis. And then soften the lead leg. Take a big warrior one stance, so you're coming back with that angled back leg as you find a lunge line and float both hands overhead, reaching high for the sky as you find Virabhadrasana 1. Then start to transition from here, opening up your back leg to 90, trying to maybe systematically wiggle the legs further apart. Check that you haven't dropped that back hand. Open up into a beautiful soft T-frame, reaching for the wall in front and the wall behind. Use this warrior 2 stance to ease your way into a side angle. Start hinging forward. Drop the lead onto the inseam of the lead leg. Staying here or finding your way into a bind if you can by softening the bottom arm, tucking it between the legs, trying to bring both arms behind your back into a little bear grip. Then start to soften the back knee. Keep the toes tucked under at first as you begin bumping the weight forwards and backwards. Trying to bring that bum closer and closer towards your back heel. If this feels good, you can start to relax the back foot and think of gently beginning to sit back. Tapping your bum maybe to your heel as we squeeze and coax. Maybe in seated and hold here, keeping the bind for a few soft counts. Then unraveling the arms and just gently placing them between both legs, elbows to floor, either sitting bum to heel or sliding off that foot so that your bum cheeks are both connected to the mat as you gently just try to fold between both legs, maybe connecting both of your elbows gently to the floor. Take a mini time out here before we start playing dynamically with our three-legged dog, going into an arch and then into our wild thing, Kamatrasana. So when you're ready, bleed up, find your way from here into a three-legged dog. Then arch the dog by bending your floating back leg, opening up the knee to the side of the room, dropping the foot to the opposite side, arching your dog, and then maybe thumping or dropping that foot to the mat, begin to pivot through your trunk, coming into a three-legged table, and then maybe playing dynamically between all three frames for at least 3 rounds. 3 to 5 rounds, waking up that energy. End in your three-legged dog, and then think knee to elbow and kick back 5 times. Knee to elbow, kick back. You're going to end in the knee to elbow position, pausing here, and then readjusting your front leg to set up a high pigeon line. Wiggle around, make sure you're nice and even through the hips and the shoulders. Either staying here with your spider fingertips on the mat, or maybe using an opportunity to activate those inner thighs and the lower abdominals as you fist the hands behind you. Bring those palms as flush together along the midline as you can. Think of floating the 2 shoulder blades as close together along the midline as you can, and hold your fisted pigeon. Then unwrap the arms, sit into your left bum cheek, swing the back leg around, knife edging both feet. Make sure that you make space for your bum. And then just hugging the toes in as if you were trying to hug your hips and nodding your nose towards your lead leg. Finding a modified Gomukhasana, cow face. Then ease your way from here back into your original seat on the mat, coming back into Sukhasana, easy sit, leading with the right leg in front of the left. You're going to take a little twist to the right, opposite hand to thigh, and then fold forward. You're going to keep playing between the twist to the right and the soft forward fold. Every time you come into the twist, you try to get a little bit more torque in the twist. Every time you fold forward, you try to drop lower to the floor so that you're ending in a sphinx-like position with your elbows and your palms firmly planted into the mat. Give yourself at least 10 repetitions, playing between the 2 frames. End of a nice exhale in the forward fold. Hold here, maybe softly pushing off your forearms, sinking your bum bones back. Take a big breath in, and as you peel back up, tuck into the half lotus line, taking your right foot, bringing the heel as close towards the inside of the opposite hip bone as you can, resting the top of your foot on the left thigh, sitting up nice and tall. We're going to repeat that little twist to the right, opposite hand to thigh, and then a soft forward fold, at least 10 iterations. Start to find an active breath pattern using an audible sound on the exhale for both the twist as well as the forward fold. So you inhale to transition and you exhale as you either fold or twist. Squeezing the remnants of that latent energy out of the body, and then ending in a soft forward fold and holding it. Trying to push off your forearms and sinking your hips back towards the back edge of your mat while keeping your belly button softly pulled in to center. Then gently peel up, unravel your legs, give them a shake out if you need to, and open up into a straddle line. That straddle can be wide or narrow. You're going to play once more with that twist to the right and a soft little forward fold. Playing within your range of motion. If bringing elbow and palm all the way to the floor is not happening for you, don't stress about it. Just play where you're comfortable. End in your forward fold and hold. Maybe if you've managed to make your way onto the palms and the forearms, you're almost clawing or pressing into the mat, thumping gently into it, almost trying to draw your chin over the edge of your mat and at the same time making your bum bones heavy towards the back of the mat while bracing actively into both feet. So I want you to find that opposition in the stretch. Then bleed your way from here into a dynamic butterfly line by bending the knees, connecting the soles of the feet, holding onto the ankles or holding onto the toes as you softly give me a little fluttering butterfly up and down with the knees just softly fluttering like the little gossamer wings of a butterfly, and then end with the knees heavy to the floor, holding onto the feet, the toes or the ankles, whichever feels the most intuitive for you today. And then ease your way from here back into Sukhasana, this time left leg in front of right. You're going to find that little twist to the left and your soft little forward fold. Keep twisting to the left and then gently folding forward, making sure that you're cupping opposite hand to the outside of your thigh and starting to look for that little audible breath pattern and maybe even an audible sound. There's no right or wrong sound here. Just find what works for you today. End in the forward fold and hold, pushing off your forearms, sinking your bum bones and your hips back towards the back edge of the mat and looking for that opposition within the fold. Then as you peel up, finding your way into a half lotus line, Ardha Padmasana, by taking the front foot, trying to tuck that heel as close towards the inside of the opposite hip as you can. Start to find your little twist to the left and your forward fold, giving yourself at least 10 cycles through. Looking for more torque every time in the twist, more drop or soft thump into the mat on the forward fold, controlling the whole time. Ending in the forward fold and holding it, pushing off your forearms, sinking your hips and your bum bones back. Look for that opposition in the fold. Then gently peel up, unravel your legs and open up into a wide seated straddle. Find your twist to the left and then your soft fold forward. Maybe allowing those elbows to softly thump or connect to the mat as you come down, but you're controlling the whole time through the core. Finding a soft rhythm that works for you. End in the forward fold, actively bracing into your feet, almost clawing or pulling the mat towards your belly with your forearms. At the same time, you're reaching chin over the edge of your mat and you're reaching your bum bones long for the back of your mat. So find that opposition within the fold. Lead your way from here into your dynamic fluttering butterfly line by bringing the soles of the feet together. Maybe you're wrapping around the ankles, maybe the toes, maybe the feet. As you softly just flutter the knees up and down, as if you were trying to hug your ears and then drop the knees away. Just find a soft fluttering motion, keeping that sense of length through the spine, and then end with the knees heavy to the floor, spine traveling to the sky. And tuck your way into a seat of your choice. Maybe easy sit, maybe you prefer a half a butterfly line. And we're going to end with an active breath pattern, Kapalabhati. Sit up nice and tall, and if you find you need more space for your abdomen, you could even tuck into Thunderbolt, bringing the knees together and the feet together so that you've got more room in the lower abdominal cavity. We're going to be inhaling and exhaling through the nose. I'm just going to angle myself slightly. On the exhale, you're going to think of squeezing your lower abdomen in as if you were trying to tuck it underneath your rib cage so that you get a nice little purge of all of the stale air out before you take a new breath cycle in. We're going to play with at least 3 to 4 rounds of Kapalabhati, maybe shooting for anywhere between 10 and 20 repetitions in one cycle. Stopping at the end of one cycle, taking maybe 2 or 3 recovery breaths, and then rolling right back into the next round. Close your eyes, maybe take your focus in, maybe just relaxing your hands, palms down, or maybe you'd like to bring them into a mudra, maybe active yun by bringing your index finger and your thumb together and making a little O frame between the 2 fingers. The rest of your fingers are splayed softly open towards the sky. When you're ready, you can begin Kapalabhati. Remember to take 2 or 3 deep recovery breaths between rounds, softening your shoulders away from your ears. When you're ready, begin your next round. Last round of Kapalabhati. As you take your few recovery breaths after your last round of Kapalbhati, maybe taking the opportunity to bring your hands into prayer mudra in front of your heart, pushing actively into those palms and ending with a beautiful namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, keep it light.